Hello and welcome to Quays News. I'm Alfie Broomhead.
And I'm Isabel Grady. Here are today's top stories.
A gunman has opened fire on a house in Salford.
Kemi Badenoch has defended comments made by a fellow Conservative, Robert Jenrick.
And people in Salford have been reacting to former England footballer Gary Neville's comments. Breaking news, a police scene is in place on a street in Salford this morning after a shooting in a targeted attack. A stretch of Lizardale Street is currently cordoned off. Officers are stationed on the scene with investigations underway and a row of homes taped off. Bullet holes can be seen in the upstairs and downstairs windows of the house.
A Greater Manchester police spokesperson said at around 9:25 this morning, we were called to report of suspected firearms discharge at an address on Lizardale Street in Salford. No injuries have been reported to us, with no arrest being made at this stage. The force has not yet released further details.
Today marks 2 years since the attack on Israel by Hamas, and Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer has urged students not to join pro-Palestinian protests.
The UK is seeing heightened security to protect Jewish communities after last week's deadly attack on Heaton Park Hebrew Congregation Synagogue.
Despite the call to consider not protesting, students around the country have started planning protests. And Dan Walters joins us in the studio now. Dan, why is the Prime Minister urging people not to protest today?
Well, today marks 2 years of the 7th of October Hamas attack on Israel, and the Prime Minister has urged people not to protest and to consider the deep sense of mourning and loss that the Jewish community may be feeling today. He says it's a despicable excuse to attack British Jews.
And where are the protests planned?
The protests are planned in various cities around the UK. London universities are planning on joining together and marching together. Also in Strathclyde, Manchester, Glasgow, Edinburgh, Bristol and Sheffield. The Universities UK, which is a collective for voice for 141 universities, have said while universities are in place for controversial views that can be expressed, students taking part in protests should consider the timing of the protests.
And what has the Prime Minister said about the events today?
The Prime Minister has been very vocal on protecting the Jewish community. He's also said that this is not who we are as a country. It's un-British to have so little respect for others, and that's before some of them decide to start chanting hatred towards Jewish people all over again. He's also said that the UK will always stand tall and united against those seeking harm to the Jewish communities, and others have used this despicable excuse to attack British Jews for something over which they have absolutely no control. So it is an important time, an important day to realise that protests are on the rise, but the UK will always stand tall and united against those seeking harm to Jewish communities, the Prime Minister says.
Thank you, Dan.
The Conservative Party's 4-day annual conference began in Manchester on Sunday. Guests consist of MPs, ministers and lobbyists who will take part in discussions and decisions on party policies and direction. Our reporter, Gracie Jones, joins us live from outside the Manchester Central Convention Complex. So Gracie, what is going on today?
Hi guys, yes, thank you. So it's the third day of the conference here in Manchester Central. It's been pretty busy out here today, a lot of people like yesterday, but there's much less police presence and there's no protesters, so it's remained very peaceful. The Tories last night may have spent their night dancing and drinking in a pub here in Manchester, but today it was strictly back to business. A poll last night released from YouGov asking 652 Conservative members, do you personally think that Kemi Badenoch should or should not lead the Conservative Party into the next general election? 50% of her own party said that she should not lead them into the next election. This morning, 20 Conservative councillors have defected to Reform UK, including notable defector Keith Prince, who served the party for 50 years. Kemi Badenoch defended her record, saying that there are some people who will leave because all they want to do is win elections. Robert Jenrick, the Shadow Justice Secretary, has come under fire this morning following a recording surfacing of him whilst he was on a trip to Birmingham earlier on this year. He said that he didn't see another white face. Miss Badenoch defended him, saying that he could have just been making an observation. And that's not all of the embarrassment for the Tories. At the conference, party members were handing out chocolate bars to journalists and supporters, reading, "When Labour negotiates, Britain loses," with Badenoch's signature on the bottom. But with the misspelling of the word Britain, many on social media were quick to ridicule the party's mistake. Despite all of this, Badenoch has claimed that they are having a really good conference. Tomorrow is the last day of the Conservative Party conference for 2025 here in Manchester, so we'll see what tomorrow has in store. Gracie Jones, Manchester Central.
Thank you for that, Gracie. England and Union Jack flags continue to appear across the country, and former footballer Gary Neville has now shared his thoughts on the matter, which has gained a lot of online attention. But what do the public think? Finlay Gaynor reports.
Across England, there has been a noticeable rise in the number of St George's crosses or Union Jack flags flying high. For some, it's a symbol of pride, unity and patriotism, but for others, the growing visibility of the flag raises questions about identity, belonging and politics in modern Britain. Former footballer and now TV personality Gary Neville has had his say on the flags, where he mentions that the country is being turned against each other by middle-aged white men who know exactly what they're doing.
I just kept thinking as I was driving home last night that we're all being turned on each other, mainly created by angry, middle-aged white men who know exactly what they're doing.
I'm here today at Salford shopping centre, where Union Jack flags and St George's crosses are very common, and we asked people what they thought about Gary Neville's video.
And like what he was saying about it's white men that have got nowhere to put their anger that is based towards so many other groups that they're just putting somewhere else, because you can't yell at people that you can do nothing about, but it's a lot easier to yell at people that you are faced with every day, you know?
Well, firstly, Gary Neville, I see a very progressive person, in football. I think he's really encouraging. Englishness, Englishness and the English flag particularly have always been associated with this very exclusionary, kind of almost fascistic. That's when I see St George's flag, I think of fascism.
What seems to be the case when you come online after asking people in the streets of Salford is that there are a lot more people against Gary Neville's views than for. Take this tweet, for example, which says, "Who supports boycotting Sky Sports after Gary Neville blames middle-aged white men putting up Union Jack flags on synagogue Islamist terror attack?" Also, I found another one from GB Politics, which says, "New. Matt Letizia expresses shock at Gary Neville's comments, with Joey Barton calling him a little pompous champagne socialist gimp." So as you can see, the consensus online is a lot different to the consensus in person. Finlay Gaynor, Quays News, Salford.
The English City Fund are moving into the second phase of their Salford Crescent regeneration scheme. The £2.5 billion project aims to provide an improved housing in the area for Salford residents. Our reporter Leighton Vermaak has joined us to tell us more. Leighton, what can we expect from this regeneration project?
So in the second phase of the project, the developers at ECF are hoping to build 2 5 to 6 storey apartment blocks, which will have 185 new apartments. The senior project management at ECF has said that they'll provide high quality housing and apartments which will cater to diverse communities. They're planting new trees in the area to bring about more biodiversity and wildlife, and they're also going to install cycle storage so active travel is encouraged around the city. The homes also aim to be accessible with the addition of things like disabled parking.
Well, that all sounds very promising. What are the people of Salford saying about the scheme?
Well, naturally, the developers and the partners, such as the Salford City Council and the University of Salford, are hopeful for the project and what it could mean for the area. But some of the Salford locals are sceptical about the project and have took to social media to raise questions about how affordable some of these new homes will be and what it will mean for the people that are living there already.
Now, in less than 4 hours, night 1 of 2 of Lady Gaga's Mayhem Ball Tour will be kicking off at the Co-op Live. Thousands of fans will be getting ready to attend the concert to see the pop icon perform some of her classic hits, such as Poker Face and Born This Way, alongside tracks from her latest album, Mayhem.
This is the first time in over 10 years that Gaga has performed in the city, and prices of tickets have been up to £600.
Now, you've probably seen and been disgusted by headlines this year about record sewage levels in our lakes, rivers and canals across the northwest.
So it might surprise you to learn that in parts of Manchester, the waterways are actually getting cleaner. Sam Simpson reports.
River pollution has made headlines in the recent years, but new data has revealed that Greater Manchester's water has actually improved. I met John from the Mersey Rivers Trust as he took part in the Big River Watch and told me what he's noticed in the past few years.
The general view is that rivers are looking healthier. There is definitely wildlife present on all the rivers that were surveyed, but also with concerns about pollution still, the colour of the water sometimes, and indeed when we did the spring survey about the lack of water. Most of our rivers are what we call moderate status now, according to the Environment Agency's scale of water quality and ecological health, which is a scale from bad to high. The bulk of our rivers now have moved into the moderate status, but we've still not got many at good status and very few at high. And we do still have a number of rivers that are bad or poor status.
The data from the Big Rivers Watch showed that 55% of rivers in the northwest are healthy and 37% are unhealthy. But 2 years ago, the unhealthy percentage was lower, at 29. Water quality researcher Professor Chad Stadden shared his concern about public reports.
As much as I'm a huge fan of citizen science, citizens are not experts and often misidentify issues. So you need to take a breath when we hear these complaints from the public and just make sure we're clear about what those complaints do or don't mean.
Expert data from the Rivers Trust show that nationally water quality has improved by 1% in the past year, meaning that now 15% of rivers in England meet a good standard. Though this sounds small, river users like water sports instructor Ian Sheldrake have noticed a big difference in their local rivers.
Well, I've been working on the river for 16 years, and I have talked to people at the beginning of my business who said in years gone by when they were coming, they'd quoted the colour of the river, etc., etc. I've seen more and more fish. I've seen more and more birds that are eating fish, and therefore I've had fishermen recently quoting me that the grayling are swimming in the River Mersey, and the grayling is a fish that only swims in a clean river. So there is the physical evidence from what you can see in the river, and there's also testimonials from people who use the river for fishing, for example.
So scientific data and witness testimonies show us that the river quality is getting better. Samantha Stimpson, Greater Manchester.
It's amazing to hear such an important issue being addressed.
No, 100% brilliant.
Well, that's all we've got for you today. Thank you for tuning in to Quays News.
For all things Salford, keep up with us at Quays News on social media. Goodbye.